Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Southern Sorcery. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We are continuing to check out the new cards from MTG Foundations. This is going to be all built around HARE APPARENT. This card is crazy. It goes absolutely bananas. Maybe the most powerful deck I've personally ever brewed, just because it does so much so quickly.
With nasty big pointy teeth.
But before we take a look at it, please jump down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and help us out a ton. It helps our channel grow. We are a new channel. Every single like, engagement, comment, subscribe, everything goes so far right now for us. So we really appreciate you spending your time with us. And with no further ado, let's jump on into it. So here we've got HARE APPARENT. This is a creature. It's a rabbit noble for 1 and a white, and it says when this creature enters, create a number of 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens equal to the number of other creatures you control named HARE APPARENT. You can have any number of cards named HARE APPARENT. So if you haven't figured it out already, it's a clever play on Heir Apparent, the HARE APPARENT. So nice one, Wizards. So we had a few options, as this obviously is not a legendary creature. It itself cannot be your commander. However, the whole deck is built around this rabbit theme deck, and essentially we had a few options. I thought about going mono white with something like the O'Hare Talk or Mondrak as the commander, and then I looked at a few other commanders with few other color identities, and ultimately we decided to jump back into Bloomburrow from just a short while ago, and we decided to go with Baylon the Haymaker. He is the absolute perfect commander for this deck, because not only does he have white in it, and you have to have white to run HARE APPARENT, but also he has green, which has the best other token doublers and mana ramp. And then also we've got red, which is going to be home to our direct damage win con, which is going to be things like Perforos or Impact Tremors. Baylon himself, a 3-drop. It's 1 red, 1 green, 1 white for a legendary rabbit.
Is that rabbit?
Warrior that is a 4/3, so a good rate on return already. But then check out what he's going to do with all of these tokens. You can tap 2 untapped tokens that you control, and you can add 1 mana of any color. So we're turning our rabbits into mana dorks, which is amazing, and then tap 3 untapped tokens you control to draw a card. This is going to allow us to keep churning through, getting more of the HARE APPARENTs into our hand. They're fairly inexpensive, so we're going to be able to keep casting and keep casting and keep casting, because we're going to draw, we're going to cast a HARE APPARENT, we're going to make rabbits, and then we're going to tap those rabbits to draw more HARE APPARENTs, to then tap them for mana and play more HARE APPARENTs, and then just absolutely go bananas with this deck. So now that we've kind of talked through the game plan and we know what our commander is, let's get into the rest of the cards. Alright, so first let's check out our creatures, and we of course have none other than the killer rabbit himself, the HARE APPARENT. We have got 29 copies. Yes, 29 copies of HARE APPARENT in this deck. We want to be drawing into this. We want to be playing as many of these as we can. That is our entire game plan. We have just a handful of other creatures that are in this deck as well. We've got first Burrowguard Mentor. It's green-white for a rabbit that has trample, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control. So this, with trample, is going to see all the very many copies we have of HARE APPARENT out onto our battlefield. It's going to be huge, and it's going to have trample. So in the off chance that someone has a lot of blockers or a way to soak up damage with our other smaller creatures, when we're swinging out, we can swing out with Burrowguard Mentor and potentially get a whole bunch of damage in with him. We also have got Beast Whisperer. Beast Whisperer says when you cast a creature spell, draw a card. So as we're casting those HARE APPARENTs, we're going to need card draw to keep refilling our hand with more of those same cards, so Beast Whisperer is a great way to do that. We also have Jacked Rabbit. This is X, and then 1 and a white. Jacked Rabbit has Ravenous, so that X cost is going to say put a +1/+1 counter on Jacked Rabbit for each mana that you paid into the X cost, and if X is equal to 5 or more when you cast Jacked Rabbit, you draw a card as well. So, and then whenever Jacked Rabbit attacks, you create a number of 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens equal to Jacked Rabbit's power. So if it's 5, then it's already a 1/2, so then it's going to be a 6/7, and you're going to make 6 1/1 white rabbits. So pretty good. Next we've got Oran Frostfang. This is a snake, and it says attacking creatures you control have death touch, and then whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So again, more card draw, more ways to refill our hands with more rabbits. We also have got a new card from Bloomburrow Precons here. This is a Gate Instigator. It's 1 and a red for a lizard, and it has Offspring 1. So when you cast it, if you want to pay that extra Offspring kicker there, you can make a 1/1 token copy of a Gate Instigator, and then both of them would have the text here. Whenever another creature you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. So you would have 2 copies, each dealing 1 damage to each opponent as more and more creatures come in. This is the way to win with this deck. So we also have got another backup of the same thing. This is Perforos, God of the Forge, for 3 and a red. Has Indestructible, and it says as long as your devotion to red is less than 5, Perforos isn't a creature, which is good. We kind of want him to be the indestructible enchantment. Anyway, he is very hard to remove. And it says when another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Perforos deals 2 damage to each opponent. And then you can pay 2 and a red into it, and creatures you control get +1/+0 until the end of turn. So there's an overrun effect stapled onto him as well. This is a very good win con here. The other 2 creatures we have are going to be token multipliers. So first we've got HARE Deepest Foundation. This is from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. It has Vigilance. It's a god. It's 6/6, and it says if 1 or more creature tokens would be created under your control, 3 times that many are created instead. So instead of making 1, we're going to make 3. That card goes crazy in this deck. We also have Mondrak, Glory Dominus, for 2 white. As for Phyrexian Horror, it says if 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many tokens are made instead. So HARE is limited to creatures. Mondrak is any token, so any token you make, Mondrak's going to double it. And then both of these cards have some unique mechanic to keep them on the battlefield. HARE, if it were to die, gets flipped over to the backside and it becomes a land. And then if you attack with 3 or more creatures in a turn, you can pay that cost and flip it back. Mondrak is a little different, but it also has staying power. It says pay 1 and 2 Phyrexian white mana. Phyrexian mana can be paid with either white mana or with 2 life, so you can pay 1 generic and then either 2 white, or however you want to pay that with life. And then it gets an indestructible counter, which keeps it on the battlefield. Next, we have a few sorceries. First up, we've got Hop to It. This is also a card from Bloomburrow, rabbit-centric. It's 2 and a white to make 3 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens. And then we also have Cultivate, so that's going to be some land ramp for us. We also have Farseek, more land ramp. And then lastly, we want a Shrubbery.
A shrubbery!
Or 3 visits. But, you know, being a killer rabbit and all, thought that copy of the Monty Python was a fun way to go with that. Next up, we've got some instants, and we've got Swords to Plowshares, which is going to be spot removal to exile a target creature. Then we've got 2 arms. This is 1 and a white, and says untap all creatures you control and draw a card. This card is very, very good because if you're going on a big turn, you're making a bunch of the rabbits, and then you're tapping the rabbits for either mana or for more card draw. You can keep casting and keep casting and keep drawing and keep drawing and play all these rabbits, but then they're all tapped. So then before you go to combat, you can cast 2 arms and untap everything, and then you've got dozens and dozens of rabbits to attack people with. It's really crazy. Next, we've got a couple cards that are going to help protect us. Obviously, people are going to want to board wipe to try to deal with our massive board state, so we have Flawless Maneuver, which gives our creatures indestructible until the end of turn, and we can cast it for free as long as we control our commander, so as long as he's on our battlefield and not in the command zone. And then also we've got Heroic Intervention, a classic protection spell. It's 1 and a green. It says permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn, so they can't be targeted and they cannot be destroyed. Great ways to protect our stuff. Next up, we've got some artifacts. We've got Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, Thought Vessel, and Soul Ring. Those are all really good mana rocks. The faster we can jump out to a mana start, the faster we can start our game plan, so ramp is very important here. We also have Oketra's Monument. That is a cost reduction, so it's going to reduce our white spells by a colorless pip, making our Hare Apparent only 1 white mana to cast, so this is also good. And it makes warrior tokens whenever you cast a creature. While they aren't rabbits, our commander can still tap them for mana or for card draw, so that's an extra bonus as well. And then one of the workhorses in this deck is Skull Clamp. So Skull Clamp says equipped creature gets +1/-1, and whenever the equipped creature dies, you draw 2 cards. And it has an equip cost of 1. So basically, you're going to pay 1 mana to equip this to a 1/1 rabbit. That rabbit will immediately die, drawing you 2 cards. So if you can get Skull Clamp out, it makes the card draw insane. That is probably an MVP in this deck. It's not a game winner, but it's a workhorse here. And then we've got a great reprint here with Akroma's Memorial. Costs 7, but it gives creatures you control flying, first strike, vigilance, haste, trample, and protection from black or red. So this is going to give us a win con outside of the direct damage approach. We've also got some good enchantments here. First, we've got Impact Tremors. Again, this is more non-combat damage, direct damage. Whenever a creature you control enters, this enchantment deals 1 damage to each opponent. So as we're creating the rabbit tokens, we're being able to ping all of our opponents for damage. We next have Warstorm Surge for 5 and a red. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. And when you're making 40 rabbits at a time, you're killing players with this card. So we've got a lot of ways and a lot of different cards. We didn't run any tutors here, so we're not going to go tutor Impact Tremors, but we just did add redundancies here so that we're more than likely going to find one of those and be able to win there. We've also got Echoing Assault for 4 and a red, and it says creature tokens you control have menace. Whenever you attack a player, choose a target non-token creature that's attacking that player, and you can make a token copy of it, except it's 1/1. The token enters tapped and attacking that player. You sack it at the end of the next step. So giving our tokens menace, if we're needing to swing, that's nice as well, and giving us the ability to get through with damage. We've also got Elven Chorus. This is 3 and a green, and it says you can look at the top card of your library anytime. You can cast creatures from the top of your library, and here's the most important part, is creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. So Baylon, our commander, lets us tap our tokens for mana, but we have to tap 2 to make 1 mana. Elven Chorus is going to let us tap our tokens for any color mana, and then 1, and then this is a great redundancy in case our commander gets removed. Haste is also pretty important in this deck, so we've got a couple cards here that are going to grant our creatures haste. We've got Rhythm of the Wild, 1 red, green. Creature spells you control can't be countered, so that's really nice too, so no one can counter our rabbits as we're casting them. And then non-token creatures you control have Riot. So Riot just means whenever you cast that creature, when it enters the battlefield, you can either give it haste or a +1/+1 counter. And then our second way to give our creatures haste is going to be Concordant Crossroads, and it says creatures can attack or use abilities that include the tap symbol in the activation cost as soon as they come into play. So this is an older card, and that's why the wording of this card is a little different than what we would see now if it was printed in a newer set. It would just say creatures you control have haste. Next, we've got some token doublers. Again, we've got Primal Vigor. This one's 4 and a green. It says if 1 or more tokens we put on the battlefield, twice that many are put instead. And then if 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature, twice that many counters are placed on it instead. This affects the entire table, not just you, so be mindful if someone else is also playing a tokens heavy theme, this will double their token production as well. However, we have so many token doublers and multipliers that Primal Vigor is just going to be a compounding effect for us, because we've also got Doubling Season, which is exactly the same thing as Primal Vigor except for its counters of any kind, and it's strictly creatures and counters we control. So that won't affect the rest of the table. And then we also have got Parallel Lives and Anointed Procession, and they both do the same thing. If an effect would put one or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, put twice that many of those tokens instead. Literally verbatim, one is green, one is white. They both cost the same, and they both say exactly the same thing. Next up, we've got our lands. Our lands aren't anything special or anything to write home about. We've just got some lands in here that are going to help us with a 3-color deck. You do need to make sure that the land base is a good land base. You don't want to go with just all basic lands, because then you're never going to have the right pips at the right time. So we've got Canopy Vista, which taps for green or white. Cinderglade, which taps for green or red. We've got Command Tower, which is going to tap for any of the 3 of our commander's color identity. We have Fortified Village, which is also going to tap for green or white. We have a Rogue's Passage, which you can pay for into it, and a target creature can't be blocked this turn. It's always nice to have that in your back pocket. I don't see us needing it in this deck, but it's just nice to have. Clifftop Retreat taps for red or white. And then we've got 5 mountains, 6 forest, 10 plains. We've got Reliquary Tower, which is going to give us no maximum hand size. Trust me, we will want this. I have had some big turns and drawn a lot of cards, and then somehow not gotten another Heir Apparent to keep going, and kind of stalled out, and so I didn't want to discard the 20 cards that I just drew if I don't have to. So Reliquary Tower is necessary here. We've also got Hushwood Verge. It taps for green or white. Thornspire Verge is green or red. Sundown Pass is red or white. Bountiful Promenade is white or green. Spectator Seating is red or white. Spire Garden is red or green. And then we have an awesome new card from Bloomburrow. This one is 3 Tree City. When it enters, you choose a creature type. We're obviously going to choose rabbits, and then it taps for a colorless, or you can pay 2 into it, choose a color, add that much mana equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. So 3 Tree City is sort of a Gaia's Cradle for Typal decks. We're going to have a bajillion bunnies, so this kind of makes sense. Okay, so just to give you a little bit of gameplay, this is actually a really good opening hand. We've got plenty of lands, we've got ramp, we've got a couple of Heir Apparents already in our opening hand, so let's just see how this plays out. So turn 1, we'll just go Command Tower. Next turn, we'll go a mountain. Go ahead and cast the Felwar Stone. Hit the next turn. We're looking pretty good here. We've got enough here that we can go ahead and play 2 Heir Apparents. We'll tap out to do that. That's going to trigger to make a token. We'll make our first token rabbit here, and we'll move to turn 4. We do need some card draw out. So at this point, go ahead and play our 4th land. Let's go ahead and get Beast Whisperer out on turn 4. Move to our next turn, play a forest. Go ahead and cast our commander. Trigger Beast Whisperer to draw. Cast another Heir Apparent. It's going to make 2 more token rabbits. Those Summoning Sickness. Parents, draw again from Beast Whisperer. The nice thing about Baylon is that at this point we can do a couple of different things. So because of his token tapping ability, we can tap these tokens, even the ones with Summoning Sickness, to go ahead and draw another card, and then we'll move to the next turn, turn 6. Okay, here's where potentially we start to be able to do some stuff. So we've got 2 Heir Apparents in hand, so we're going to cast 1, trigger Beast Whisperer, draw a card, trigger make 3 rabbits. Okay, so then we'll cast another Heir Apparent, trigger Beast Whisperer, go ahead and this time we're making 1, 2, 3, 4 more rabbits. We'll go ahead and cast Primal Vigor, 5, and then we'll tap 1, 2, 3, 4 rabbits for the 2 mana that we need. Cast the next Heir Apparent. We're gonna make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Heir Apparents, trigger Beast Whisperer, 5 Heir Apparents, but Primal Vigor is gonna make it 10. So now we'll make 10 more rabbits. And you can see already how this is starting to get out of control. Now we're going to need to draw some more cards. So we're going to tap 3 rabbits, draw a card, tap 3 rabbits, draw a card, tap 3 rabbits, draw a card. Okay. Tap 3 rabbits, draw a card. You just keep doing this until, okay, here's another Heir Apparent. So now we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 more rabbits. Trigger Beast Whisperer to draw a card. Just make sure we hit all of our land drops. Tap 3 more rabbits to draw a card. Another Heir Apparent. Tap 4 to cast Heir Apparent. Draw a card from Beast Whisperer. Make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 rabbits. Okay, we're doing good there. I mean, we've got another one here. We want to try to cast something like this. So this costs 6 mana, so we need to tap 12 rabbits to cast that. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Leaving us just enough to cast our next Hare Apparent. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll cast Warstorm Surge. Then we'll tap 1, 2, 3, 4 to cast the other Heir Apparent. That's going to trigger Beast Whisperer. It's also going to trigger Warstorm Surge. So we'll deal 2 damage to any target. Then we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rabbits, which is going to be 16 rabbits, which means we'll have 16 damage to deal somewhere. So then we'll make 16 rabbits. Yeah, you can see how it kind of starts to snowball here. Then we're going to want to draw more cards again until we can get that next Hare Apparent. 2, 3, 3. There's 1. At this point, with what we've got left, we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's for the Hare Apparent. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So we can cast Delaney. We're going to draw off of Beast Whisperer, and then we've got 2 mana up to cast the next Heir Apparent. Trigger Beast Whisperer to draw a card, and then we're going to make this time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to make 9 rabbits, but Primal Vigor is going to make it 18, and then Delaney, being out now, says if an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So it's going to trigger twice. It's actually going to trigger Beast Whisperer twice, also power 2. So draw that next card. So now we're going to make 9 rabbits. We're going to make 18 rabbits from Primal Vigor, and then we're going to do it again from Delaney. We're going to make 36 rabbits, which gives us 36 points of damage to deal somewhere from Warstorm Surge. And then from those rabbits, we can tap enough to cast Perforos, which is going to deal 2 damage each time a creature comes into play. So we'll just play it out real quick just so that you guys can see. Make a boatload of tokens, 36. So we'll have 36 rabbits. We want to cast Perforos, so we'll tap 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Perforos is in play now. Cast 1 more Hare Apparent. Now it's going to make 10 rabbits. Primal Vigor is going to make it 20. Delaney's going to make it 40. So we're going to make 40 more rabbits, and when they enter, Perforos is going to deal 2 damage to each opponent, and that's going to be enough to kill everybody. And if not, if for some reason maybe an opponent has out a card that prevents non-combat damage or something like that, you would just keep drawing out from here. You know, you can tap more rabbits to draw more cards. So you got another Hare Apparent. So you got, at that point, it'd be 40 some more rabbits. So essentially, we'll have enough to just you keep drawing until you keep casting Hare Apparents until you have enough tokens, and then you can essentially draw until you hit your win cons, non-combat damage win cons, which we do have a couple in here. So you would just keep drawing and keep casting all of these Hare Apparents. Absolutely, just you're gonna have hundreds of rabbits at that point. You can cast Elven Chorus to let them tap for mana on their own. Instead of having to tap 2 of them through Baylon, you can draw until you get Concordant Crossroads, which is going to give all of your creatures haste. And then we even have a pretty cool, we've got Skull Clamp in here, so you can draw a whole bunch of cards off of your tokens, and you can just keep drawing until you hit exactly what you need, which would be the Chroma's Memorial will be enough to do it. Creatures you control have Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Haste, and Protection from Black and Protection from Red. So that's going to give the next bout of tokens you make haste, and then you're going to be able to, and then of course Trample, Protection from Black and Red, Flying, etc. And that's going to be enough for you guys to be able to swing out and get the win. There's an instant in here, or maybe a sorcery that lets you untap all the tapped creatures you control. Here it is, to arms. Untap all creatures you control and draw a card. So you just would literally untap all of these tokens that we've tapped. So super fun. That's on turn 6. Pretty powerful. That's not counting for interaction or removal. We don't really run any counters in here. We don't run blue, so there's no real counters. But if left alone, this deck does this pretty consistently turn 6, turn 7.
Pretty nuts.
Thanks again so much for stopping by today. We really appreciate your time and your attention. Again, before you leave, please jump down in the comments and just say something that you enjoyed about the video. Give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can see our next videos and our upcoming content as well. Everybody have an awesome day. Check out us on all of our other socials, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.